So the quotes about Caleb Williams, whenever I see alarming, all I can think of is sirens going off. Somebody pulled the fire extinguisher in high school. Alarming. Were you alarmed when you got those? Were you surprised at how negative the Caleb Williams discussion was?
A little bit. I have sensed some of it from Ben Johnson in his public comments this offseason, talking about we're not a palms up type of team, body language. He even made a reference, it was a little arcane earlier in the offseason, about something statistically about, EPA or something. And the bells went off in my mind because EPA counts sacks. Well, who took a lot of sacks? To me, I was reading into that probably, but I felt like he's put that team and Caleb on alert. He's got the juice there, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it comes together in light of the fact that so many of the people I talked to said, hey, Caleb Williams has tier 1 talent. It's going to be good for him with Ben Johnson, but man, his ability to process the game quickly, that was not there, and that was alarming.
Yeah. So I made.
Okay. He's now going to talk about another quarterback, and I want to focus on none other than Caleb Williams. Watching this clip just now, I really just kind of had this aha moment. And I don't know if I 100% understand. It's like I got to think about the logic more. You guys know I'm like logic, and I need to understand things conceptually. But we've all been here where we're watching a game and it's the examples that I want to use are going to be too triggering for people. So let's just use Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Okay, let's just put those quarterbacks in a vacuum right now. They're playing each other in a game, and this is a made-up example, but we've seen this a million times, right? Jalen Hurts is playing great, and the Eagles are playing great, and they're beating the Commanders good, and the broadcast team is just like, oh, this Eagles team, they're just so unstoppable. Jalen Hurts, clearly a top quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he's got to be in the MVP conversation, right? I mean, oh my goodness. He's just, this Commanders team, this is the problems that they've been having throughout the year. Jaden Daniels hasn't been seeing the field as well as he should be, and, blah, 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 and they just can't get the run game going. And then as the game continues, now the Commanders rally back, and now they're going. And then it's just like, see, Jaden Daniels, he is special. This is what the Commanders knew they were getting when they were drafting him. And Jalen Hurts, like, the game's starting to get tight, and there's been problems saying, can he throw the ball, right? The game was really going well when they were able to run the ball. And what happened? The Commanders were able to slow down the run, and now Jalen Hurts just doesn't look as great. This is a problem that the Eagles are going to have to deal with down the line. And it's just like, whoa, where's the conversation? Just a second ago, you were saying Jalen Hurts is the MVP, the Eagles are unstoppable, and the Commanders need to have a lot to work on, and blah, 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 blah. And now we switch sides. Now it's like, whoa, okay, now the Eagles are in trouble. And it's just like, we've seen that a million times. I mean, it's just pretty much every game. It's just going with the flow of whatever's happening in any given moment. And to be fair, when you're watching like a live broadcast like that, like, it makes sense to a degree because you're going with the flow of what you're seeing in real time, and it's literally commentary in real time. But we then also see this type of approach when having conversations, publicly, in the media, where it's just like, Dak Prescott has a great game, and it's like the Cowboys, who's stopping them? They're winning the division. Dak Prescott, top quarterback in the league. Did you see that game? 4 touchdowns, 350 yards, unstoppable, unbelievable. That's who Dak is, blah, blah, blah. Then the next week, Dak has a bad game, and it's like, this is the Cowboys, man. Here we go again. They just, they just are going to keep going through this cycle again and again, and it's just like, whatever happens right in front of our face, we go with it. And it's just, to me, that's what we're seeing a lot with Caleb Williams right now, right? It was like, Caleb Williams is amazing, Caleb Williams is amazing, Caleb Williams is amazing. And then it didn't quite look exactly how people wanted it to. And it's just like, oh, Caleb Williams bad, Caleb Williams bad, Caleb Williams bad. And it's just, there's just no middle ground. Like, it's such a rare take to hear someone saying, this has been what my take is for the most part, of just like, yeah, did not go exactly how we wanted it to go in year one. Caleb Williams wasn't processing and seeing the field as well as we would have liked. And now the executives and the coaches around the league have a little bit of concerns, but there's still a lot of hope and optimism that they're going to be able to kind of get this moving in the right direction. And with Ben Johnson, he has his work cut out for him because Caleb Williams is definitely a lot rawer than maybe people originally thought, but clearly extremely talented, clearly extremely gifted, and wants to be better, wants to get better. And so this thing just might take a little bit more time than people initially thought. Oh my goodness, the most controversial, mind-blowing take ever shared, ever. It's just like, it just has to be, we live in this world right now where it's either got to be Caleb Williams is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, or Caleb Williams is an absolute massive bust. Game over, no room for growth, done, see ya, bye. And it's just like, why? Why is it when we're watching a team play and they're winning, it's this team, you don't want to see this team in the playoffs, and then when they're losing and they're just like, this team, man, this is what they do. They collapse in fourth quarters. And it's just like, well, like, wait, where are we landing right now? What's the middle ground here? And it's just that's what we're seeing. I feel as though just so loud and clear with Caleb Williams. Last year, and I've said this so many times, but last year was such a mess for this team. And yes, he was taking sacks. Yes, it wasn't perfect. And this is the problem too, because on the whole rant that I just went on, you do have the other extreme, a different version of the extreme where they're just like, Caleb Williams was actually great. Look at his numbers. Why is he looked down upon? But look at these other quarterbacks and they have similar numbers. And it's just like, that's why you got to watch the games. And that's why it for Caleb Williams, it wasn't as bad as it seems. And it wasn't as good as it seems. It was just pretty good. It was like, yeah, it was okay. It was decent. Had some moments. But it's just like, we can still let it breathe for a second. We can still let it breathe. And really the foundation of my take is, for just Caleb Williams as a whole now, has remained, last year was a mess, an absolute mess, coaching mess, roster mess, insane pressure, and he wasn't a disaster. He didn't erupt. People want to talk about his body language, some of these other stuff. That's all well and good. That's fair. And don't get me wrong, man. Coaches have very specific approaches or philosophies around that type of stuff, right? It's just like, I learned more about body language and respect playing sports than I did like in classrooms, like in school and stuff. Take a knee. You got to keep your chest up high. Look at me when I'm talking to you, right? Don't be looking around when I'm talking. Eyes up here. Take a knee and look at me. No one else talk. And it's just like you get drilled in that at like the age of like, depending on how competitive you play, but like for me it was like 6 years old. Like, take a knee, look up, eyes up here. And it was like, yes, coach. And it's just like everyone kind of has a different approach there. But yet we see so many players who completely take a turn. And they continue just to be like, nah, this is me. I do what I want. And I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be this. Like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield did not handle the ups and downs originally with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the biggest Baker fans even can concede that. And it was something that I really, I held his feet to the fire probably longer than I should have, because I didn't give him enough room to grow and mature. But even when we call someone out for even like their body language, which is a real thing, like I want to emphasize like that it is a real thing. But the fact of the matter is that like he still said all the right things at the mic. He still carried himself very well. He still like he wasn't the type of person where it's like, nah, don't blame me, or he continued to do stuff where you're just like, God, this kid just doesn't get it. He just does not get it. Never did I watch Caleb play last year and just be like, he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. Never once did I say that. Never once did I think that. Again, was it perfect? Absolutely not. But he was in such an imperfect situation last year. And I get it. So many people were saying this is the best situation that a rookie quarterback has ever gone to. And they were wrong. The conclusion, the prediction was wrong. It was wrong. So to keep judging a quarterback now on the wrong conclusion, the wrong prediction, it does not make sense. It does not make sense. If you draft, let's say you draft two wide receivers. Let's say you have the first and second pick and you draft two wide receivers, first and second, and you're like, these are the two greatest wide receivers that the NFL draft has ever seen. Like, we just drafted Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson 1-2. Oh my gosh, I don't know how we pulled it off. It was crazy trades, all that. We got the two greatest wide receivers ever. They are going to be unbelievable. And we got him with Josh Allen. Oh my goodness. Amazing, 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 amazing. Josh Allen's going to throw for 10,000 yards. I mean, how could he not? It's just unbelievable. But then those two wide receivers end up being terrible. It was all an illusion. It was all smoke and mirrors. They are awful. They're confused. They don't know how to run routes. They just have butterfingers. They just keep dropping the ball nonstop. They each have 5 drops a game, and they just can't function. It's like, you're going to blame Josh Allen now? And it's a dumb, silly example, but I'm trying to paint such a clear, stark picture. Like, why are you going to continue then to judge that season, that game, that quarterback based on incorrect information? You wouldn't say Josh Allen should have still thrown for How is it that he only threw for 3,800 yards when he had the first and second receivers, the Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase? And it's like, but they weren't Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. That clearly proved to be wrong. They don't know how to run routes. They don't know how to catch balls. These guys are not good. So why am I going to keep continuing with that same flawed logic then? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So like, it drives me crazy that we're still bringing that up. Every Chicago Bears or Caleb Williams video that I make, people will still say, yeah, I thought he went in the best situation any, rookie quarterback ever has been. And it's like, yeah, that was a take that people had, and it was wrong. Let's move on. Like, let's move on. And to keep trying to use that as an anchor to weigh someone like Caleb down, like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it really doesn't. So it's just like, to me, that just continues to show the flaw in people's logic and inability to update a pre-existing belief. And again, like I keep saying, a wrong prior conclusion. So I think, considering the situation that he was in and how much of a mess he was in, the fact that he still even remotely had success, that actually legitimately means something to me. And you know what? It kind of ages well for Baker as well, because like I said, I was harsh on Baker and didn't think he really had a tremendous amount of success with Cleveland. And even when he did, I think it was, you need to add a little context around it, like his playoff win and whatnot, but that's fine. We'll leave it at that. But it still showed his level of resilience, that when he did get to a program and a team that had a lot more stability and was run a lot better, Baker Mayfield flourished. And so the fact that, it's like he's on tier 3 and he's next to Sam Darnold, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. We'll keep Aaron Rodgers out of there because he's obviously, 74 years old. Kyler Murray, the fact that he's still just kind of right there and clearly was in a bizarre situation last year, that means something. Tua was obviously injured, but and had a little bit of a rougher situation, but at least he has a coach and some pieces that know how to get the job done. Trevor Lawrence has been in the NFL for years. Again, he's also had a rough go at it from a team perspective, but still been in there for years. Bo Nix went to an awesome situation with Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Great O-line, great defense. Geno Smith's been in the league for years. Sam Darnold coming, like, again, evaluating Sam Darnold stuff, because it's also like coming from a terrible a couple terrible franchises, and then going to Minnesota Vikings, great franchise, had a ton of success. And the sheer fact that Sam Darnold was still able to survive in the NFL despite going to 2 awful franchises that were literally like essentially setting him up to never be a quarterback in the NFL again, and yet he was still able to find his way through. Sam Darnold deserves tremendous amount of credit for that. Tremendous amount of credit. And his story's still being written right now. Better believe that if he plays well with Seattle, he can be elevated as well. And then again, right above him are quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, all legitimately respected quarterbacks from all different various situations and backgrounds. Jalen Hurts literally won a Super Bowl. CJ Stroud, Goff, all the names. So I fear when people see something like this, that a quarterback didn't have this amazing year. It was only year 1. And he didn't play for a very well-run team. I mean, listen to the other people just be like, man, as soon as Ben Johnson got here, just like everything changed. Like the amount, the focus on detail is just like, whew, we certainly didn't have that last year. I mean, like just any of these little things, these little elementary levels of coaching that the Chicago Bears did not have, and yet you had a quarterback that, for the most part, was serviceable. Like that's the thing too. He was serviceable. You didn't watch that game and think to yourself, how is Caleb Williams going to blow this game now? You didn't think that. You said the Chicago Bears were going to lose, and you're like, I don't think they're going to win this game, or they're clearly not good. They're not making the playoffs. But you didn't see a great team and just be like, how is Caleb Williams going to blow this? It's like when you watch your team with a backup quarterback, and you just know, oh, this is just, oh my God, this is just not working. That's not what you got when you watched Caleb Williams. But people are trying to pretend that it is. Like he was looking like Kirk Cousins when Kirk Cousins just threw interception. You were just like, the Falcons can't go on like this. You're like, their hands are tied. They have to bench Kirk Cousins and put in Penix. Like you have to do it. You absolutely have to do it. That's not what we saw with Caleb Williams. It's just not. And even though I defended Sam Darnold against Detroit and against the Los Angeles Rams, which I maintain, there were still moments when you were just like, oh my God, like we got to do something different. Like, what is this? Like you had to like look away. I think it was Troy Aikman who was doing the one game, the playoff game, where he was just like, oh my God, like what's happening? Like you got guys, like what are we doing here? And that really wasn't the case with watching the Chicago Bears. You just watched a bad team, a team that just wasn't good enough. And in the beginning, even though it was far from perfect, and they were still at least kind of winning games, and at least it was a lot more competitive. There was still the feeling of like, hey, they can maybe make the playoffs and whatnot, and they can maybe make things a little interesting. You didn't watch this and just be like, gosh, if Caleb Williams was just a better quarterback, this is a top 5 team in the NFL. Like you didn't have that feeling either. You saw a lot of things go wrong, and this will be my last statement because this was my conclusion while watching the games last year. It was just like Caleb Williams made some mistakes and missed some throws that were there for him. And then when he made some really nice plays and made some really nice throws, his players then failed to make the play for him. And in moments when you really needed to kind of help and support and elevate each other, be like, hey, I got to make a tough catch right now for my quarterback, they couldn't do it. Nobody was helping anyone out. So it was like a perfect storm of just everything going down. It's like Caleb Williams makes a beautiful throw, a beautiful read, scrambles a little bit, throws a great play, up, drop, missed, right? Someone's wide open, a great check down, like got it, nice little 5-yard dump off pass. We'll be able to run for another 8, 9, 10 yards. A little bit out of reach, right? Caleb Williams really scrambling, trying to fight for his life, falling down, makes a nice throw, tough throw. It's gonna be a tough play. Up, drops it. It's just like nobody could rise to the occasion. Nobody could step up. It was a team failure all around. That's what needs to be remembered. And yet we just kind of want to continue to paint this picture of like, things were actually kind of decent, pretty good, but Caleb Williams just weighed everyone down. And it's just not the reality. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams being tier 3, ranked 23rd? And just what Mike Sando is saying about how there's a lot of alarms going off, I guess, about Caleb Williams. Pulling the fire extinguisher, as Colin put it. I think he meant the fire alarm. You pull the fire alarm. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.